I call to order the Lynchburg Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. And our first order of business is approval of the minutes from 2014. So has everybody had a chance to look them over? Any changes or comments?
2014.
September 14th, 2022. Sorry. It's been a long weekend.
It's been a while.
Wednesday. Yeah.
No comments. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Our next order of business is the new business where we will hear the petition of Providence Church for conditional use permit at 108 Melinda Drive to allow the construction of a 500-seat sanctuary and associated parking in an R4 high-density residential district.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject property consists of approximately 2.8 acres located at 108 Melinda Drive. The subject property is zoned B3C, Community Business District conditional, near the corner of Melinda Drive and Wards Ferry Road, and the remainder is zoned R4 High-Density Residential District. The proposed sanctuary would be located in the R4 district. Churches and their associated uses are permitted in the R4 district upon approval of a CUP or conditional use permit from City Council. The petition agrees with the comprehensive plan's future land use map recommendation, which offers an institution use for the property. The city's institutions include religious, educational, and other nonprofit entities in the city, such as churches, cemeteries, schools, universities, private hospitals, clubs, etc. If the CUP petition is approved, a 4,800 square foot sanctuary would be constructed. A building addition to the existing sanctuary is also proposed in Campbell County, separate from this petition. Once the new sanctuary is constructed, the existing sanctuary will be converted into classrooms and offices. Churches and their associated uses are permitted in residential areas upon approval of a CUP. The existing church sanctuary provides 205 seats and is proposed to be expanded to 386 on the portion of the building located in Campbell. The proposed sanctuary in the city of Lynchburg would be approximately 4,800 square feet and have capacity for 500 seats. The church is located adjacent to another church. The petition is also supported by the future land use map designation for institution uses, and the proposed expansion of the existing church should not have a negative impact on the area. The city's technical review committee reviewed the conditional use permit on April 19th, 2022. Comments were minor in nature and will be addressed by the petitioner prior to final site plan approval. The Planning Division recommends approval of the petition with the condition outlined in the report.
Great, thank you. And who is here to speak on the behalf of the petition? If you could please sign and state your name. Tell us a little bit more.
I was able to write it neatly before I had to scratch it when I came up here, but my name is Amy Sipe. I'm the principal engineer and partner of AccuPoint Surveying and Design. Good to see you all. It's been a while. I'll see you more coming up in the next few meetings. Regarding Providence Church, Rachel pretty much covered everything. The history of this property has been a church for quite some time. There was a different congregation located here. That congregation has since, I think, dissolved and combined with another congregation. They then sold to Providence Church about 5 years ago, maybe a little less. Providence has grown exponentially in that time. They have already had some parking difficulties just because the nature of their congregation is growing quite rapidly. This is planned to be done in phases, so I don't think that that was maybe made very clear to the planning staffs. And we cross city-county lines awkwardly, as with this property and several others right in this area. They would first do the sanctuary expansion, which literally parts are in the city, parts are in the county. The county does not require a CUP or a SUP either or for churches, so that could move forward except for the little piece that is in the city. So that would be their first phase one. So they would do that. But in addition, to grow that sanctuary, they would need the parking that is solely in the city portion. Once they outgrew that, they would then move to the secondary, or the new sanctuary that they would construct, which is the 500 seats. But that would not go in at this time, as they don't have that many people that would warrant that. And I'm sure funding is a consideration as well for that expansion. But they would need the parking for the existing sanctuary to be expanded. Once the new sanctuary is constructed, they would go back and then renovate to turn the old sanctuary into classrooms and offices for their staff. We do show some recreational facilities around the property, just in general, some picnic areas, a pavilion, grass areas for children to play in. Some of those are in the county, some of those are in the city. So we did perform a traffic impact analysis because of Wards Ferry Road. But as with many churches and religious organizations, they have sporadic use and attendance. The study did result in that the two intersections that were studied, which was the Melinda Drive and Wards Ferry, and then the one just up from that with Target and Kohl's and all that. So both those study intersections would operate with an acceptable delay, and queuing would not cause a build condition. So at that time, no off-site improvements from the church are warranted. Again, sporadic use, because typically Sunday mornings aren't an issue because it's early on a weekend. The lunchtime Sunday would probably be the heaviest use, and any times throughout the week would be kind of an off-peak time, 6 or 7 at night after the evening rush. So happy to answer any questions that you have about the phasing or about the church in general if I can. But like I said, portions are in Campbell County, and we will have to go through their site plan process, just not an SUP process. They're what they call the PEC in Campbell. So
Great, thank you, Ms. Sipe. Is there anybody here to speak in favor of this or in opposition? Okay, good. I'm glad you're staying up then, because we'll close the public hearing and address any questions.
The only question I have is just more of a process question is, given the fact that we're going to roughly double this over the course of however long that phasing goes, I can't imagine, but would there ever be an opportunity to go back in and say the traffic's got to be twice as much, we need to relook this? It's a curiosity question.
as far as I know, if it's the way it is now and there's no build, if it was approved, that would kind of be a lot, like
Yeah.
so.
I can't imagine a bad enough situation that we would do it, except because those lights are so close together. That's
Right.
more the queuing conversation than anything else.
Sure. And typically, the way we've done it, not just in the city, but in other jurisdictions, even with VDOT, if this SUP and site plan were approved, that would be a known load.
Right.
So say someone came in next door to the church behind and said, hey, we want to build a 2,000-seat sanctuary. This would have already been approved. So the city staff would then say, hey, just so you know, this one's approved, so you have to add that in.
Right.
I actually had that happen just recently in the Smith Mountain Lake area. We were in the middle of this, and they said, you can't necessarily reserve capacity. You can't say, oh, we're going to. But once it's been approved and has that, stamp of, yep, you're allowed to build anytime you want, then it has to go on the books as, just so you know, you're going to have to add that to your consideration.
Any other place other than Wards Ferry, I don't think I'd
Yeah,
Wards Road.
Right. Yeah. You'd have to go vertical at that point, I think.
Yeah.
So.
I think the people that will be affected the most will be the people leaving the service, making a left-hand turn on Melinda Drive. It's not going to be the people already on Wards Ferry or the shopper, so it's a known. Yeah, but I mean, really, the pulse of the service egress is going to be the timing.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
But-
as someone who attends church just down the street and comes out on Wards Ferry, my suggestion has been, at times, and we have this in other parts of the city, where they do get off-duty police officers because of that reason.
Yep, and that's something that they can consider.
Sure.
It's not.
Yeah,
I mean-
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
And
Not
most,
pretty.
most churches, I mean, they're doing that as much for their own
Oh, yeah.
members.
Absolutely,
as
it's for
they are,
safety.
because otherwise the members aren't getting out.
Yeah.
So,
I've actually seen people bring lunch and camp out in a parking lot, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, we just always bring our lunch and stay here until all the traffic goes away,
Right.
so,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
so.
So based on your site plan, does the 500-seat addition in Campbell County actually fully use that yellow highlighted area? Or would there possibly be in the future even more expansion?
So the expansion that's in Campbell County is up kind of in their campus area. It's the brown.
Okay.
Right in there. So, no, even back in that weird kind of shape right there.
Okay.
So the sanctuary part that they have now is in that weird roof line. And they would come off that because it's such an odd shaped room that to add onto it, it would almost prevent you from seeing the speaker. And so they are kind of limited in how they can add on to each side of the sanctuary. They've got a little piece right on the county line and then the larger piece. So once they exhaust that, they've kind of maxed out what they can do architecturally. And so if they reach capacity, they are already doing, I think, 2 services or looking at going to 2 services. And so once they kind of do that and max out that, they would then move to the new one. But in order for them to not have to keep repeatedly going, okay, we just need parking and we need an SUP for parking. And then, hey, in 2 or 3 years, we might need the building and now we got to go back for an SUP. I said, just do it all at one time. And then they have some flexibility of when they can start that.
I do appreciate the detail on the site plan. We don't often get ones this clean. It's nice to be able to see exactly what you have in mind. Back to the traffic, again, I'm not worried about it, but it's hard to tell if there's 2 lanes on Melinda, but if you, the other long-term solution would be have a left and a right-hand exit so that you're not queuing up behind the left-hand turn folks. But that could be, again, addressed kicking the can down the road as needed. I don't think it's part of this petition. You do mention stormwater intentions, and it says as indicated in the draft or in the concept plan. So I'm not sure when the concept plan becomes a site plan, but can you just point out on here where
Yeah,
that would be?
I think they didn't get turned on. It would be down in there it is, yep. It would be down there towards the
SWM.
road, yeah.
Okay, it's there, it's obvious.
And then if there was some that we needed in the backside, likely for the pavilion and parts of the current expansion, that would be part of what we would have to provide for Campbell County.
Sorry, you do have it clear as bell on there.
That's okay.
I just didn't see it. Yeah,
I was like, I thought it was on there.
no, it's on there, for sure.
It was just out of the view, so.
And that's just your standard retention
Yeah,
type thing? And then
this
we'll,
actually all drains to, I mean, if you've ever sat at that light, you can kind of look up and the church itself sits on a knoll and it just kind of all gently flows toward Ward's Ferry. So it would be down there kind of in that bottom behind Coles. Because there is a retaining wall behind Coles with this property and a fence. Yep.
Rachel, there's no ticking clock. Once it's approved, they're welcome to take as long as they want with implementing.
So for a CUP, once that is approved by City Council, those are valid for 2 years. I believe, and I don't want to say for sure, but I believe applying for site plan will lock that in. I don't think, I can't remember whether it has to be approved, either approved or apply for a site plan in that 2 years, and that is considered that you've kind of started work.
But the parking lot is phase 1 regardless.
Parking lot needs to go now, and so our
Right.
intention, our intention would be to, assuming this moves forward, through council, the intent would be to develop a site plan for the parking because that's what they need so desperately. But we would account for stormwater for the improvements on either side that it is associated with, so that they could go ahead and once they were grading for the parking lot, they could grade for the building pad and just seed it and leave it. The stormwater would be sized appropriately so that when they felt it necessary, they could essentially just pull a building permit and go ahead.
Right.
But no, I don't see any issue with phasing it like Amy's described.
Okay.
Well, I like the green space that has been kept. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
And-
they've got lots of kids and they need lots of room to run.
Yeah, that's really, you don't see that a lot in a church area. And also with you know, this agreeing with the flume, and being able to, you know, having a church be one of the permitted uses anyways in the R4 with the CUP, I have no problems with this petition.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect location. It's the transition from the shopping. A couple churches here, and then the neighborhoods. And that's what we like to see. If this was in the middle of the neighborhood, that'd be maybe a different story, but this is a good spot.
I would move, if there are no further comments, I would move we accept the motion as presented, given the conditions that Rachel spoke of.
Second.
Okay, any other comments before we put it to vote? Okay, all in favor of this proposal?
Aye.
Right?
All opposed? It's unanimous. So, good luck, and look forward to seeing it go through city council, and look forward to seeing you
I'll see you next month.
next month. All right, any other business to attend to? Any information on future meetings?
We will be having a meeting on, is it October 12th? Yes, so plan for October 12th. And probably the second meeting that month, too.
Okay,
A lot of things in the pipeline.
good. Fun times.
12th and, what's the other one, 26th? Yeah.
All right, well,
Yes, as we're getting into holiday season, good to keep that in mind.
all right,
Move that we adjourn.
all right. Any opposition? I don't hear it, so have a good day.
To you.
I got on the school bus.